Okay, Module 2, Lesson 7, Day 2, Measuring Variability for Skewed Distribution. Open your workbook to page 81 and read the Exploratory Challenge 1. Exploratory Challenge 1. Consider the following scenario. A television game show, fact or fiction, was canceled after 9 shows. Many people watched the 9 shows and were rather upset when it was taken off the air. A random sample of 80 viewers of the show was selected. Viewers in the sample responded to several questions. The dot plot below shows the distribution of ages of the 80 viewers. Okay, so here's the dot plot showing the ages of the 80 viewers who watched the show and were sampled to answer questions based on the show, fact or fiction. Here's our first question. It says, approximately where would you locate the mean in the distribution above? The mean is called the balance point. So make your guess, and I'll make my guess. And my guess is going to be at about 50. Again, it's just a guess, but it's called a balance point. So think about why it might be called a balance point. Okay, so again, that's my guess for the mean. Later on, I think we'll be calculating the mean, and we'll find out why. Or we'll find out if our guess is right. Number 5, how does the direction of the tail affect the location of the mean compared to the median age? So what's going to happen if you look at the tail, in this case the tail is to the left. How does the tail affect the mean compared to the median, it says? Okay, so first of all, the tail is to the left. Which at the left of the number line is the lower numbers. So what that's going to do is that's going to make the mean lower than the median. So the mean is, I'm going to say pulled. What if I say pulled down to be lower than the median? If the tail went to the right, that would be exactly the opposite. It'd be pulled toward the higher numbers. Okay, the mean age of the above sample is approximately 50. So in my case, I actually guessed it correctly. Do you think this age describes the typical viewer of this show? And explain. Okay, we've talked about this before as far as typical viewer. If the data is skewed, then the median age actually describes the typical viewer. On the other hand, if the data is symmetric, then the mean describes the typical viewer. So for this particular data, it says, do you think this age describes the typical viewer? I would say no, because this is skewed data, and they're telling us that the mean is 50, and the median would actually be higher than that. So the actual answer would be no. It would be a higher age. Than 50. The reason it would be higher is because of this question up here, that the median is actually going to be a higher age than the mean age, because the mean is being pulled down by the tail, because the tail is going off to the left. And that's really important that you understand that. Okay, moving on to exploratory challenge number 2. This is constructing and interpreting a box plot. So we're going to use our dot plot to construct a box plot over top of it. Okay, so this is actually the same picture, but I believe in your book, you don't have the picture a second time. Okay, so you're going to want to actually turn back in your book. You're going to want to stay on the same page. Or you're going to want the back page, I'm sorry. They give directions on how to do the box plot on top of the line, or box plot on top of the dot plot, but personally I don't like those directions, so I'm going to give slightly different ones. I'm going to do the dot plot, box plot, exactly the same way that I showed you how to do the dot plot yesterday. So the first thing you want to find is the median, which is the middle. But in this case, we're using dots. So we want to find the middle dot, and there are a total of 80 dots. So halfway, we want to find halfway between the 80 dots, which would mean that there would be 40 dots coming in from the left and 40 dots coming in from the right. So I'm going to count 40 dots from both directions. Okay, I don't want to really cross them off because I want to be able to see them, but I'm just going to count where is 40 dots from the left and 40 dots from the right. Okay, so I'm counting. Say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and here's 40. So this dot right here is my 40th dot. Okay, and then I'm going to count 40 dots from the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. So right in the middle of those two dots, so this red one right here and this blue one right here, would be the median, which is 60. So I'm going to kind of draw a line in between those two to cut that in half. Okay, so that's my median. So that would be the middle line inside the box for the box plot. That's my Q2. Okay, I'll make a note of that also. Actually, I think there's already a chart for you to fill in. Yeah, right here. So the median age is 60. Now, on each side of that line, Q2, there's 40 dots. So now we want to take those 40 dots and we want to cut those in half. So half of 40 is 20. So I'm going to cut those 40 dots in half. So let's find where 20 dots are located. So I'm going to start counting over again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and here's 20 dots right here. And that would mean coming in from the other side, this blue dot would be 20. So halfway in, so in the middle of those two dots, 40 would be my next line. So I draw a line right there, and that would be Q1. Okay, so on my chart right here, I'm going to say 40. Okay, that makes half of our box plot. I do the same thing now on the other side of Q2, on the right of Q2. I'm going to find where half of those 40 dots are so that I can find Q3. So I'm going to count another 20 dots. That's 40 altogether. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So there's my 20th dot. And that would mean I'd have 20 over here, the blue and the red one. So so in the middle of those two dots is 70. So that would be my Q3. Okay, so 70. Right there. So that's my box. Your quartile 1, quartile 2, and quartile 3 make your box. I went ahead and made this one right on the number line just because it was easier to do. And then your minimum and your maximum is how you make your whiskers. So my minimum is this blue dot right here, which looks like it's halfway between 0 and 10, so that's 5. So I need a line for my whisker to go all the way down to there. And then my maximum looks like it's these two dots right here. And that looks like it's halfway between 70 and 80, so let's call that 75. And I need another line to go all the way to meet those dots. And that's my other whisker. Okay, so that's how you make a box plot using your dot plot. So each part of that box plot should have the exact same amount of dots in it, which would be 20 dots. Okay, so there were 80 dots. And the first thing I did was I cut it in half so that there would be 40 dots. And then I cut that in half again so that there would be 20 dots. So each part has 20 dots. Okay, so there's 20 dots here. Which, remember, that's 25%. There's 20 dots here, which is 25%. There's 20 dots in the next part, 20 dots in the next part, and each of those parts are 25%. Okay, so question number 9 says, what percent of the data does the box part of the box plot represent? Or capture, excuse me. Okay, so we're talking about this part right here. The box Well, each part of the box plot is 25%. So the entire box is going to capture a total of 50%. Okay, so that would be the answer. Okay, again, this is asking for percent. Excuse me. Question set 10 says, what percent of the data falls between the minimum value and Q1? Okay, well, that's talking about, here's the minimum value, and Q1 is where this line is. That's where Q1 is. Well, that would be 25%. Okay, so 25% would be our answer. Everything about this graph is based on 25s. So you should only have an answer like 25%, 50%. So that's our answer. Question 11 says, what percent of the data falls between Q3 and the maximum? Well, Q3 is this end of the box. Maximum goes down like this. And that percent is also 25%. Okay, so 25% is our answer. Again, we were answering a percent question. Okay, so it's really important that you pay attention to this is asking you for a percent, and what part are we talking about? Okay, exercises 12 through 17. It says an advertising agency researched the ages of viewers most interested in various types of television ads. Consider the following summaries. So we got ages 30 to 45, and the target products are electronics, home goods, and cars. 46 to 55-year-olds, the target products are financial services, appliances, furniture. 56 to 72-year-olds, and the target products, these are for advertising, are retirement planning, cruises, and healthcare services. The mean age of the people surveyed, question 12, is approximately 50 years old. As a result, the producers of the show decided to obtain advertisers for a typical viewer of 50 years old. According to the table, what products or services do you think the producers will target? Based on the sample, what percent of the people surveyed about Fact or Fiction, the TV show, would have been interested in these commercials if the advertising table is correct? Okay, so first of all, they targeted people that were 50 years old. 50 years old is in this category right here. So the types of commercials that they played, or the types of ads that they used, were about financial services, financial services, appliances, and furniture. Okay, so that's the first part that they asked us. It said, according to the table, what products or services do you think the producers would target? So that's the types of products that they targeted. That's the products. Then it says, based on the sample, so that's going back to our box plot, what percent of people surveyed about the Fact or Fiction show would have been interested in that? So if we go back to our box plot here, or our dot plot, what percentage of people were around that age 50? Well, according to this plot here, the 50-year-olds are in this part of the box. In that part of the box, we're only talking 25% of the audience. Okay, so that's the second question that it asked us. You always got to make sure you read the questions closely and make sure that you answer all parts. Okay, so that's 25% of the audience. Okay, so what percent of the people surveyed about factor? Okay, so 25% of the people. Does that sound like they were targeting a good amount of people? I don't think so. The show failed to generate the interest in advertisers hoped. As a result, they stopped advertising on the show, and the show was canceled. So the reason that the show was canceled after only 9 episodes was because they weren't getting advertising, and advertising is what pays for the show. And the reason why they weren't getting the advertising wasn't working out is because they were only targeting 25% of people, because they went for the mean age of 50. Okay, so Kristen made an argument that a better age to describe the typical viewer is the median age, which you and I already know that because we've been studying this. Okay, what is the median age of the sample? We looked already at this, and we know that the median age is 60. Okay, so median age is 60. So that's the first question here. Okay, so that's answering this first part. What is the median age? And then it says, what is the median age of the sample? What products or services does the advertising table suggest for viewers in the median age? So if we go back up to the table, 60 actually falls in here. And that's retirement planning, cruises, healthcare services. Okay, so the next question, the stuff that they should have been advertising about, possibly, is retirement services, healthcare, I think, let's see, cruises and healthcare services. Okay, so now it says if the median age is considered as a description of the typical viewer, oh, that's all I asked us, I'm sorry. What products or services at the median age? Okay, the next question says, what about the percent? What percent of the people surveyed would be interested if we went with that? Well, the 60-year-old falls in place of the 56 to 72-year-olds are interested in retirement planning. So let's go see where 56 to 72-year-olds fall on that black spot. 56 to 72-year-olds. 56 to 72-year-olds are interested in those items. And the 56 to 72-year-olds, they actually fall all the way from here to here. Okay, 56-year-olds are in this box. All the way through 72-year-olds are outside of the box. So now we're covering people in 3 spaces. The only people we're not talking about is this little group out here. So if we're talking about people in this spot here, and this spot here, 56 to 72-year-olds, now we're talking about 3/4 of the data. And 3/4 is what percent? 75%. Okay, so this one's actually 75% of the viewers. Okay, a couple more questions here. Next it says, what percent of the viewers have ages between Q1 and Q3? So the Q1 to Q3, that's the part of the box that goes like this. This is Q1, and then we add our median Q2 and Q3. And that covers the two 25s. So the percentage of the viewers having ages between Q1 and Q3 is always going to be 50%. It says the difference between Q3 and Q1 is called the interquartile range, or the IQR. In this case, let's find the interquartile range. So our next question, let's find out exactly what Q3 and Q1 are. We're going to find what we call the interquartile range. So we're going to do Q3 minus Q1. So those values, so Q3 is 70 and Q1 is 40. We're going to do 70 minus 40, and that equals 30, and that is what we call our IQR, or our interquartile range. Okay? It's a range, that's why we're subtracting, and it's the inside of the box. That's why it's called the interquartile range. It's between the quarters, Q1 and Q3. Okay, 16 says the IQR provides a summary of the variability for skewed data. The IQR is a number that specifies the length of the interval that contains the middle half, that's why it was 50%, of the ages of the viewers. Do you think the producers of the show would prefer a show that has a small or a large interquartile range? Personally, I think they would want a small interquartile range, so that they were targeting a very specific audience. And that answer can vary, though. Somebody could also say that they want a large, so that they have a bigger, a lot of customers. But I think the smaller that the audience, the easier it would be to advertise for them, and the advertisers are what make that pay for the show. So I think they would want a small IQR, interquartile range, and the reason I think they would want a small IQR is the smaller range of the viewers' ages. The easier it is to advertise. Okay, do you agree with Kristen's argument about the median age providing a better typical? And yes, and the reason why I would agree with her is because obviously it was an increase from 25% to 75%. that's today's lesson. Once you finish with your notes, it'll be time for your assignment.